Oh man, I didn't think that I was going to be making a video about Israel Adesanya again, but here we are. The dude receives an unbelievable amount of special privileges, not only through his entire life with servants and his father being an extremely astute businessman, but within the UFC we've seen this transpire as well. And a lot of people will say that he deserves everything that he gets from the UFC because he's always there, he's always willing to fight. But the fact that he's getting a title shot against Dricus Du Plessis is absolutely crazy, unwarranted, unjust, and I think it's only fair that we counterbalance that with a little bit of criticism of him on the Theo Von podcast and on his own podcast with Dan Hooker. There's some outlandish statements that transpired over the last couple of days. We're going to talk about the fact that on his YouTube channel he just did a prediction and he totally defames Money Moicano. Pretty much alludes to the fact that he's a racist and that he wants immigrants kicked out of the country. And believe it or not, we're going to tie in a crazy story with Clint Eastwood not being cheap in the middle of all that, and it's a big confusing thing that's quite embarrassing. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the persistent delusions that this guy has. So yeah, that's what we're at. Before we get into it, maybe if you could hit like, subscribe, share, that sort of thing, that helps me out. I'd really appreciate that. So yeah, let's jump into it. So we're going to start out with a little bit of delusional behavior from Israel Adesanya. As I said, this isn't an original video. Any video that's done with a critical eye on Israel Adesanya will be people saying, boys, this guy's delusional. What's going on here? As well as gay.
Hangman, Hangbender, back into his house. Allegedly. UFC 300, it's the big one. I mean, I know where I watch UFC. It would have been nice if all Du Plessis would have been like, yeah, let's fight. Oh, fucking nut up. But again, my pussy hurts. So he didn't want to fight. So it's all good. It's whatever. Hey, I got time today. I don't say much when I say shit. I got time today. Also, you know what's stupid? I don't watch shit, but I saw something. So he said something like, oh, I guess he didn't want to fight me, the king of Africa, in home soil. Nigga, you didn't want to fight me on home soil. So shut the fuck up.
The only home soil I have is Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to the intro, Daniel?
If you actually watch any of these two prediction videos that Dan Hooker and Israel Adesanya put out yesterday, they're extremely cringe, right? Every time Israel Adesanya gets in front of the camera, it's cringe, man. It's so cringe. And the fact that Dan Hooker is sitting next to him like a little boy pleased to be with his idol or something like that, like, what a complete shill. And he's just like laughing and forcing out this fake laugh every time Israel says something retarded. And it's just annoying. As for the Dricus Du Plessis stuff, we're not getting into it. We're not getting into a back and forth about he refused to fight me and this guy. First of all, you shouldn't even be in the conversation for a shot at Dricus Du Plessis. You had a little bit of beef a year and a half ago. That dissipated. That's like completely quelled. But now we're in a situation where we should really be looking at this in terms of merit and in terms of who's next in line for a title shot. It's not Israel Adesanya. So the intro to this video was him using racial terms and all this type of stuff. Again, the guy gets triggered so easily, and we're going to get into that in a bit when we're talking about the Moicano stuff. But the dude is like racially triggered all the time, like complete anti-white ideology flowing in and out through them ears. Just keeps coming to the forefront of interviews. So we'll point out a bit about that in a minute. These two videos I'm going to show you here are filled with Israel Adesanya thinking that he's funny, thinking that he's smart, thinking that he's a vessel where messages come down from God through him and he puts it out into the public and that's why everybody loves him. It's just like, dude, what's happening?
I immersed myself because of my imagination in that moment. And I remember feeling so happy. And in that moment, I was just like, I just want everyone to feel how happy I am. And that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And then the rest came vessel. I was just like, blah, 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 blah. And I just said what I said. And people fuck with it, and it became this moment, and I'm glad it became that moment because people still to this day that's like, man, you made me feel so happy. I remember that speech and this and that, and when I speak from the heart, I feel it hits people because I'm trying to connect. We're all human beings, no matter what race, color, like.
Oh, lads. First of all, how does Theo Von have 2 million people following his podcast? I don't get it. Do you know this whole Rogan mafia where everybody that appears on his show more than 5 times have millions of subscribers and none of them are funny and none of them are entertaining? What's going on? But Israel Adesanya is talking about, I'm in the shower and I'm visualizing my speech and how happy I want to be. I'm not thinking about winning the fight. I just want to be happy and I want people to feel that happiness. And I get out there, I get on the mic, it comes down like a vessel through me. And it goes out there and people hear it and people respond to it and it becomes this big, huge, inspirational thing. And I'm like, I've covered this before in another video, so I had to go back and rewatch the speech. The speech is like a mentally ill person. He's banging on about like, you guys will never be here where I am, but I wish that you all could be happy. A complete narcissistic rant. I don't think it became a thing that people fucked with. I don't think it became this thing that inspired so many people. I've heard him say this in a number of different interviews where he's like, as I said, Vessel preached to everybody. I'm this like messiah figure and everybody loved it. I'm like, dude, Money Moicano's speech about joining a SWAT team and protecting the US is far more poignant than anything that you said. You grew up with servants, you grew up with money, you literally had everything that you ever wanted, and you were afforded the right to become whatever you wanted. You didn't have to go work in factories and bust your ass on a construction site. And you're talking about, you'll never know the happiness that I have right now. It's just like, oh, cringe and awkward and just like, stop. And that seems to be the running thread with this interview with Theo Von in terms of cringe. So he's talking about Abu Dhabi and how they're bringing up the boxing scene and they're really going to rival Vegas and Dubai and all these places. And he's talking about a promotional trailer that was done for the Tyson Fury Usyk fight. And this might be irrelevant, this might be a little bit petty out of me, but I found it cringe and I was kind of waiting for the punchline or a producer to jump in there from the 2 million subscriber podcast Theo Von. I thought someone might have had their finger on the pulse of like, boys, this is not Clint Eastwood. What are you doing? This sounds like Special Needs.
So it's good. Competition is good. Yeah, this ad, insane. Look at the production. And this is an ad for a boxing fight.
Wow.
Yeah, and they pulled out, but you know, the fight will still happen later in the year. I think they've rescheduled, but yeah, like this is...
Is that Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Not in this lifetime, Sonny.
That's what I'm saying.
Jesus.
For an advert. And he's not cheap.
Nuh-uh.
You serious?
I don't know what to say about that. I'm a movie fan. That's not Clint Eastwood, bro. No one gets checked here. Yeah, Clint Eastwood, man. That's what I'm saying. He ain't cheap. What's happening? What's going on? This is literally embarrassing. So let's jump over here and look at these little clips where he's talking about Money Moicano. He's talking about the speech that he made in the octagon. It's actually quite disgusting. It's not surprising, but it's disgusting that Israel pretty much defames the dude. Pretty much says that he's a racist, disgusting person who wants to kick all the immigrants out of the country. Where did he pull that out of?
Whenever you want, like June.
Yeah, now, but he says exactly how he feels. I don't, like, again, I've said this already. I've said even about Strickland, I'm like, look, I might not like you, I might not agree with you, but anyone that can express themselves authentically, even like I do, people don't like me or they do or whatever, but I express myself authentically. If you can't do that,
I like him now.
I respect that. He does that, and he says,
Actually, a good little point there from him. And to be fair, there is a couple of good points and a couple of good little interactions in the Theo Von podcast. I have to be fair. Here's another good one. It doesn't matter whether I like you or I hate you. If you're authentic and you speak your own truth, then that's fine. That's your own subjective view and everyone should be allowed to have it. That's very interesting, especially given the fact that Israel Adesanya fan base goes after everybody who doesn't bow down in front of him. And you will see that in the comments in this video.
I want to be a police officer for the United States and kick all the immigrants out, or whatever else he said.
I'm going to pause it there. We're going to rewind back. He's doing it with the African accent, a place where he was probably 25 years ago. Interesting. So we kind of understand the mentality of Israel Adesanya. We saw it with Dricus Du Plessis where he took what he said, blew it completely out of context, blew it into this big huge racial thing, got absolutely no punitive measures put towards him for being that person, kind of race baiting other fighters, being an anti-white type of a guy. That's fine, it's kind of promoted in society now anyway, it doesn't matter. But we've seen him explode over and over and over again in terms of his insecurities about his race, about his background and how he grew up. And it all kind of stems back to race. He's talking about Money Moicano, who made this awesome speech in the octagon where he said that after his fighting career he wants to join the police force, he wants to be part of a SWAT team and help stop the bad guys. There were his actual words. And that transferred over to Israel Adesanya as, here's another dude who wants to kick out all the black immigrants. So let's go back and hear that one more time.
I like him now.
I respect that. He does that.
Yeah,
he says, I want to be a police officer for the United States and kick all the immigrants out, or whatever else he said.
Of the United States.
Or not
I
that,
think he
but
said he was going to.
I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, he's backtracking.
Back to the Pavelos, guys.
I'm paraphrasing, but anyway, I like the
I don't think he said anything about it.
No, I'm paraphrasing.
And after I'm done with fighting, I will serve on the police officer. I want to be a SWAT team, and I want to
Shoot the bad guys.
But pretty much he spoke his mind on the mic, talks about money. He's like, I'll fight for money. Fuck the belt, I want money. So that's all I know about him. His style though.
Dan Hooker steps in and tries to like steady the ship here, going, nah man, I don't think he said anything like that. And Israel Adesanya knows quickly and starts throwing out the word paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing. Other people call it defamation. He's calling it paraphrasing. Interesting. But what's even more interesting is, where does it come from? How did you jump to he wants to attack and kick out all the immigrants? What's going on in the back of your mind? What are the conversations that are happening that we don't hear? Because you're pretty terrible at actually hiding how you feel towards white people or about anyone that questions why you moved from Africa to New Zealand. I'm going to show you a clip here. You remember when he was asked by a journalist about his background, about Nigeria, about New Zealand, about China? And did he answer it coherently and nice and steady? Or did he have an absolute meltdown because he thinks people are questioning him or kicking him out of the country because he's an immigrant?
Home is where your bloodline is, your warrior race. And he has... Say it again? Yes? Home is, like I said, home is where the heart is. I have Africa with Nigeria outline tattooed on my chest for a reason. Look at my skin. My fucking skin is black. Do I fucking look like a Kiwi to you? But at the end of the day, where, listen, cunt, listen. At the end of the day,
what a rat, what a scumbag. Can't take any sort of question about where is your home, New Zealand or Nigeria. He got so triggered there when someone asked him about Nigeria or Africa. It was pathetic. And we saw him like having complete meltdowns, like actual physical mental breakdown in the octagon with Dricus Du Plessis. And I guess he's the queen of the UFC. He gets what he wants. He's got a title shot coming up. So he went after Money Moicano and said that Money Moicano got on the mic and wanted to kick all the immigrants out of the USA. Wow. Wow.
And then Moicano's gonna walk forward and then money, boom, boom, boom.
Official pick?
I'm gonna go Jalen.
So apparently Moicano, the racist who wants to kick out all the immigrants out of the USA, is going to walk forward pure dumb and going to be shouting money, money, and he's going to get KO'd by Jalen Turner. That's what Israel Adesanya thinks about Moicano, because he showed the smallest bit of patriotism. It's very, very easy to trigger this dude. Very easy. And I thought that I'd just cover a little bit of that today. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit like, subscribe, and share. Cheers.